Hello students, welcome to the SRBPS virtual classroom program. I'm your biology educator, Ms. Prerna Rathi. So let us start today's class.
So students, let us start today's class. Today we will be discussing human reproduction part 2, where we shall deal with the process of gametogenesis, which is further divided into spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Let us first start with the definition of gametogenesis. The process of gamete formation in the gonads of sexually reproducing animals is known as gametogenesis. Haploid gametes are formed as a result of this process. It is of two types: spermatogenesis, which occurs in male, and oogenesis, which occurs in female. Let us now discuss spermatogenesis. The process of formation of haploid spermatozoa from diploid spermatogonia cells is known as spermatogenesis. The process of spermatogenesis includes the following four phases: the multiplication phase, growth phase, maturation phase, and the differentiation phase. Let us now understand the same process through the schematic representation. At puberty, in the human male, the germ cells of the spermatogonia present inside the wall of the seminiferous tubules multiply by the process of mitotic division and just increase in number. They lead to formation of diploid spermatocytes. Primary spermatocytes, which are diploid in nature, are formed as a result of the multiplication phase. Now, during the growth phase, these spermatogonia grow and increase in size to form primary spermatocytes. Each spermatogonium here is diploid and would lead to formation of diploid primary spermatocytes only. During the third phase or the maturation phase, some of the spermatogonia undergo periodic meiotic division. The primary spermatocyte completes its first meiotic division, which we all know from class 11 is a reductional division, leading to formation of two haploid secondary spermatocytes, as you can see from the schematic representation. So, first secondary spermatocyte are a result of first meiotic division. The secondary spermatocytes undergo second meiotic division to form haploid spermatids. What do they form? Haploid spermatids. Now, 4 haploid spermatids are formed. During the last, that is the differentiation phase, there are two main processes that occur. Firstly, the spermatids are transformed into spermatozoa or sperms by the process of spermiogenesis. Once again, spermatids get converted into spermatozoa by the process of spermiogenesis. Now, the head of the spermatozoa at this point is embedded into the Sertoli cells, from where they draw nourishment. And finally, they are released from the seminiferous tubules by a process known as spermiation. So, spermiation is the process of the release of spermatozoa from the Sertoli cells. Let us now read the structure of a sperm. It consists of a head region, neck, middle piece, and tail. The head is the enlarged end of the sperm, which contains a large haploid nucleus. It is also covered by acrosome, which contains certain very important hydrolytic enzymes, which will later on help this sperm to dissolve the membranes of the ovum during fertilization. The next is the neck part. It contains the proximal centriole, which is necessary for the first cleavage after the formation of zygote. So hence it also plays a very important role. The middle piece is rich in mitochondria and is responsible for providing energy for the movement of the tail that facilitate the sperm motility, which is very essential for fertilization. The last part, as you can see, is the tail of the sperm. It contains, very clearly it is written here, axial filaments. The axial filaments are surrounded by the plasma membrane. Basically, tail is that part of the sperm which helps it to swing in the female reproductive tract. Now, the production of sperms is under the hormonal control. How is it controlled? The hypothalamus releases gonadotrophin releasing hormone and in turn activates the anterior pituitary to secrete two very important hormones, the follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone. The follicle stimulating hormone directly acts on the Sertoli cells and stimulates the process of spermiogenesis and also produces another hormone called inhibin. This inhibin is responsible for the negative feedback. It controls its own secretion. Whenever excess of spermatogenesis occurs, inhibin will go and stop its own production. On the other hand, luteinizing hormone activates the Leydig or the interstitial cells to release an androgen called testosterone. This testosterone is responsible for the development of secondary sexual characters in male and is also responsible for a feedback mechanism. In this feedback mechanism, testosterone can also control the release of gonadotrophin releasing hormone from the hypothalamus as well as the release of LH from the anterior pituitary. Let us now discuss oogenesis. Oogenesis is the process of formation of a mature female gamete known as ovum from diploid oogonia. It includes three processes: the multiplication phase, growth phase and the maturation phase. Again, let us understand the same through a schematic representation. The most important thing to remember in oogenesis is that oogenesis starts in the fetal life of an organism. A female organism starts to produce oogonia right when it is in the womb of its mother. Oogenesis is initiated during the embryonic development when a couple of million gamete mother cells called the oogonia are formed within each of the fetal ovary. And when the birth takes place, after that no more oogonia will be added. The process of the mitosis is finished and meiosis 1 is started, which is arrested at the prophase 1 of meiosis 1. So primary oocyte, which has 46 chromosomes or the diploid set of chromosomes, are present at birth. Then childhood, nothing will happen. During the puberty, the primary oocyte will complete its first meiotic division. At the end of the first meiotic division, we know, which is reductional division, a haploid secondary oocyte and a haploid first polar body are formed. Each primary oocyte at this time of the growth phase gets surrounded by a layer of granulosa cells and is formed and is called a primary follicle. Large number of primary follicles degenerate from birth to puberty. At puberty, around only 60 to 80,000 of the primary follicles are present in each of the ovaries. So around 80,000 in one, 80,000 in the other ovary. The primary follicles keep on getting various layers of these granulosa cells and a new theca is formed, which leads to the formation of secondary follicles. So can you understand? While the process of oogenesis is occurring outside, then the development of the follicles is also occurring. So now primary follicle has got converted into secondary follicle by the end of the growth phase. Last we have the maturation phase. In the first maturation phase, the secondary follicle soon transforms into a tertiary follicle. And here the primary oocyte which is present inside the tertiary follicle will get converted into secondary oocyte and first polar body. This secondary oocyte is converted into ovum only if fertilization occur. Basically, during the process of ovulation, when the tertiary follicle gets converted into the Graafian follicle, a hormonal activity causes the bursting of the Graafian follicle and release of the ovum. This process is called ovulation. During ovulation, a secondary oocyte is released, inside which the ovum is present. Under the circumstances where fertilization occurs, that means as soon as the sperm hits the ovum, the secondary oocyte here, for fertilization, second polar body will be released, and what will be left? Ovum. So eventually the fertilization will occur between a haploid sperm and a haploid ovum. I hope this is clear. Can you see the development here? Now see, the primate follicles are getting converted into secondary follicle. How will that happen? A new theca of granulosa cells will be formed, which will later be converted into tertiary follicle, where you see an antrum or a cavity is formed. It gets converted into a Graafian follicle where secondary oocyte is ready for ovulation. As soon as it ruptures, it releases the secondary oocyte inside which the ovum is present. The rest of the Graafian follicle after ovulation is known as corpus luteum. This corpus luteum is responsible for the release of progesterone, which is a very important pregnancy maintaining hormone. That's all for today's class. Let us now recapitulate what we have learnt. We have learnt about the process of gametogenesis, where we discussed spermatogenesis and oogenesis. We also discussed the structure of sperm, hormonal control of spermatogenesis, schematic representations of both spermatogenesis and oogenesis, and a sectional view of ovary to study the development of the follicles in the ovary.
I hope you understood today's lecture and are making full use of our YouTube channel. So until next time, goodbye, take care.